Around the world and across Nigeria. If you just joined us, it's still Enterprise Morning, reaching you from Enterprise Television. Let's get to our conversation for this morning. The federal government of Nigeria plans to distribute 75,000 naira in cash to 70 million Nigerians to alleviate hardship as part of President Bola Tinubu's strategy to address poverty. Honorable Aliyu Audu, a senior aide to the president, highlighted the administration's successes in 19 months, including increased foreign investment, improved debt management, and a significant growth in foreign reserves. Audu credited Tinubu's bold policies for these achievements, particularly in boosting oil production and non-oil sector activities, which have enhanced fiscal earnings and increased federation allocations. This has led to better payments to contractors and falling food prices due to improved security and agricultural mechanization efforts, including the distribution of 255 tractors to farmers. Audu also praised the government for repatriating $52.88 million in looted funds and noted that opposition misinformation is declining as positive data emerges, such as the World Bank projection of 3.5% GDP growth for Nigeria in 2025. He emphasized Tinubu's rising regional and global influence and urged APC promoters to engage Nigerians and highlight the administration's achievement. The two-day progressive dialogue on Tinubu's reforms, endorsed by key stakeholders and organized by various groups, aimed to strengthen support for the president's initiative. To have this morning, I am honored to have right here in our studios Mr. Sheson Okwade. He is a chartered accountant and public affairs analyst. Good morning to you, Sheson.
Yeah, good morning.
Thank you so very much.
Good morning to all our viewers across the globe.
Beautiful. So let's have this conversation. It's so very sensitive. You know, we were having a little bit of a chat, you know, just before we started today on how that, I think it's time we need to tell ourselves the truth, don't you think so? Because all of the data we have here, realistically, is not what we can see for some of us, of course, who are here in Nigeria. Don't you think so?
Yeah, thank you very much. You see, most of the time when they roll out some of these data, I ask myself possibly if we are in the country or there are things that we are hearing from outside. If somebody is coming to tell us that foreign exchange is being managed effectively, maybe from the perspective of saying we made dollars at 400 and something naira or 700 and today is 1,006. Well, we have stabilized it that it has not passed 1,006. If that's the credit you're giving to yourself, maybe it's a record on their part. But who would have thought of them saying that, okay, of a truth, we met it at 700, we took you to 1,600, we are back to 700 where we'll be. I think those are the kind of information that will be quite encouraging for the citizen. Look at the major thing that create pain in the heart of every individual in the country, the petroleum price. And just yesterday I was reading that Dangote said there will be a slight increase because of the increase from the international market. And I asked myself, are we not playing to the gallery to say that the reduction we had in December was sponsored because of Yuletide, that we should brace up for an higher price when it comes to January? And this we are just saying as we are reducing. You see, the handlers of government needs to speak to reality as against some of the data that you get from the NBS on some of these things that we have. When you come out and say inflation is about 34%, you and I know that food inflation is over 50%.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because what we used to buy before now, the specific amount, is not what we buy now. Production on its own has actually declined. A lot of people are struggling because of energy cost and the cost of survival for business organization is not there, which is impacting on the people that are working with them. You see, when you read some of these things, I don't blame them. They are actually doing the work they are paid to do.
Now, doing the work they are paid to do, because the aim of government is to ensure that there's sustainability and growth, of course, of everyone. Doing the job they are asked to do that undermines the progress of Nigeria, is that a good enough job?
Well, to the handlers, to those who have engaged them, they are doing a fantastic job because it's to paint. And you see, it happens even in organization. It's for you to just understand your principal, what he wants, and you give it to him, irrespective of what it is. I always make reference to the likes of our former Minister of Information. I'm sure you know while he was there, Lai Mohammed.
Okay, Lai Mohammed.
Yeah, he did a very fantastic job for that administration. But where is his space in the society today? You know, there are people that will serve the country and their relevance continue because people can understand their own contribution to the economy. So you can do it for a while, get paid. The next thing we'll hear is that this particular person will definitely jump.
Especially Femi Adesina, because he's been my mentor, you know, even before 2015.
When
you know,
2015.
You know, he was there. He spoke against the government as much as he could. He got into the administration of President Muhammad Buhari, and today he's just fizzled away. This is someone that has got more than enough information, and
that's what we keep saying. You see, you are there not to allay the fear of, not to actually evoke fear in the people that things are not doing right. You are actually paid to manage information. You're just like a management staff of an organization. Even when the organization is collapsing, you continue to conceal information. Possibly the exit of one or two management team exposes the problem that organization is faced with, most especially if you have a repeated occurrence of people from finance department. So as we are, when you get into government, you and I that we are speaking here today, when we get in there, our conscience is actually being bought over. And you are supposed to protect because if you are not speaking good of the government that you claim to be serving, then why are you working there? So that's what we say. But you need to count your cost and consider that, do I want relevance after each administration? Or I just want to fizzle out with a particular administration after concluding my job? It's not only at the federal level. Even go to states. A lot of brilliant chaps have worked with government to see how they protect that government, and the exit of that government, just see their exit too. And the next thing you just hear that the country they claim they are built or is working fine, they cannot even reside there for 2 months before they move out of the country. We've seen that at state level, at local government level, at federal level. There are people who have claimed that we have done this thing. Where are the governors that served during Buhari's regime? A lot of them are out of the country. They are not staying here. And they claim that they've actually raised the standard. They cannot even stay in the community where they developed. I've always referred to a lot of them. They come to Lagos, reside in Lagos, if they are in Nigeria. They don't reside even in the state that they have governed one way or the other. And you ask yourself, why is it that you so much develop a state and you can't reside there for the rest of your life? So it's about people coming, and you see that play out. People will stay here. When it's time for election, they take them to the state. They will rule for 8 years. After 8 years, they come back to their place of abode. And being able to just say, these are things I've developed, I'm with you. It is when you are with us, we can know that you actually, we've gotten value. Then you can see. Because while you are there, you cannot see. You hear. And it's based on what you hear, you react. But now you are out. You can see for yourself. And look at area of correction in that particular state. Not you talking from outside. Like I was in a particular program where a governor was actually talking and somebody asked a question that, sir, why is it that now you are seeing some of these things? He said, when you are there, you don't see, you hear what they actually tell you. When you even try to challenge what they are telling you, the way and manner they portray some of those things to you, you'll be convinced that but when you get out, you see the reality that people are actually saying. But it's late, you can't correct anything. And whosoever that is there at that point in time that you are trying to actually guide or correct, I'm sure the question, you know the answer that will come out. Okay, you are there for 8 years. What did you achieve? Please leave me for my own and let me do it the way it is. These are problems that we are faced with. A lot of them do not actually outlive their service in a particular regime, not like we have it in the hours where you can transcend from one administration to the other because of the integrity that is
meritocracy. Yeah, because that's what it is. Now, you talked about a reality, and it's very important that we equally mention the consequences. Of course, you're a man of numbers. This is your forte. Now, let's even get to do an analogy of that. For a blue chip financial institution, for instance, that of course didn't get their numbers right because of one or two issues and they filed for bankruptcy. Now, this is what it is supposed to be. When you take a look at Nigeria, let's even assume that Nigeria is a financial institution, because with all of these things we keep having in data that are inaccurate, which are numbers that are inaccurate, what do you think are possible consequences of some of these things, especially when you relate it to real life issues of you don't get your numbers right, there are nefarious activities, and at the end of the day, such companies or blue chip brands go into obscurity?
Yeah, I will tell individuals that I think the advent of technology tends to expose some of these ideas that we're talking in wrong data that you have, because the system is about garbage in, garbage out. It's what you feed to him. Even when you have those analytical tools, it's what you garbage in that gives you the result. So when you input a wrong data, the information you get thereafter will definitely be standing on the wrong premise, because the input is actually wrong. These are some of the challenges that we are faced with. We have asked severally. I want to take the government up to say, how many people during this period of hardship do you see government giving reliefs to? And you can be specific on some of those things. We've seen issue of nano company being granted millions of naira, the small medium enterprise being given millions to actually support their business. And I've asked, what is the parameters that you have used to actually get that? Because people are not the data is supposed to be in public domain. Is it the level of tax commitment that they have done? Is it about the turnover that you have seen and how they have been committed in actually fulfilling their obligation to the government that actually warranted? Look at US during the time of COVID. They understand the challenges this organization faced, and there are a lot of reliefs from the government on some of those organizations, because the survival of an average organization is the survival of the individual. Just like this organization, if this organization goes down, every staff of this organization go back home. So we must understand the fact that we need the right data. But how do we collect the data? We have asked, can we actually synergize all this data collection that we have? You provide data for driver's license, you provide data for NIN, for BVN, for passport. And individually, you have different, and that's why people can play around with it. I've asked the question, you have NIN, you have BVN. People are still requesting for funds paid into their account, and nobody is being tracked. And you ask, so what is the usefulness of that particular information or the data that you have actually collected? Is to guide, is to assist the agency in their deliverables to the people. So I think we need to go back to the drawing board. Not only, I will always say, government has their own failure, but what are we doing on our own path? I can tell you that, when I was staying in a particular area in Ikorodu, we had our own database, and we allow people to know the importance of that particular database for the community. Can we start looking for way integrating some of these things? That's why you see a lot of people migrating and collecting fund here, affecting that financial institution, running to another area. BVN is supposed to expose that, because with one BVN, it connects all the accounts that you have. And we should be able to have exposure to say, okay, I've collected a loan from this particular organization. I'm defaulting, and I'm running to another bank to collect.
It should reflect.
It should reflect to say, no, we might not be able to. We are exposed because you have obligation to this organization, and it's not about the interest that other new bank that wants to grant the loan will be looking at. Because if he has failed to this, definitely he has only come to sweet mouth you of some of those things that you are saying of it, because paper is different from reality. And that's why I feel that government must be intentional in the usability of the data they are collecting. One, harmonizing those data, making useful, each time I look at the way the youth are actually being shortchanged, it is when you have the data, you can have a projection to say, can we decongest Lagos? Look at how we can grow Ogun State, we can grow the neighboring state in such a... Do you know that people travel as far as Lagos to Ilorin from in UK? And how do they do it?
At the place of residence.
Yeah. Their place of work is about 2-3 hours to their place of residence. But how do they do it? They have a train that moves in that particular with specific time. Who says that people can't stay in Ibadan and work in Lagos? Who says that people can't stay in some part of Ogun State and work in Lagos. That has already started, but the fact remains that we must have our data right in such a way that we start decongesting the urban area and give more prominence to the rural area in such a way that businesses can start growing there. And I can tell you, when you develop the rural area, what you're doing is you have proximity to raw materials that will assist in reducing the cost of that particular production, which will be better off for it. But what we see is that a lot of people are migrating from the rural to the urban because they feel that that's where life is. There is life more in the rural area if the government is intentional in growing and developing that particular area, and it will contribute to the bottom line of the country as a whole.
All right. My last question is this. You know, from our story, we hear it that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu and his team are distributing 75,000 naira to millions of Nigerians.
70 million.
70 million Nigerians. We do not know the amount at the total figure of that. Of course, would be running in the billions.
I don't want to use the calculator so that
it will lock up and all that. So, is it fair to say that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu understands politics but lacks leadership discipline?
Well, I would say he's a chief strategy when it comes to politicking, and he understands what the people want.
Which is part of what?
And he gives that to them. I have asked, where is the database of this 70 million? You are speaking to the fact when the data came out that we have over 133 million Nigeria living in multi-dimensional, poverty level. So if you are taking out 70, what happens to the remaining 60%? What is the yardstick that you have actually created for this 70 million that you are talking about? How long are you giving this particular fund?
Is it a one-off or is it a continuous?
And when you say it's a continuous thing, it's like you are just giving people fish to eat. You are not teaching them how to feed. We have said, if you put the calculation of this amount into space, we know you can avail funds to the poor of the poorest by your standard, but create the enabling environment in such a way that the business can grow. When you grow your business, you can engage more cleaners, you can engage more staff in that particular place. They can earn money on their own without you. And on the bottom line of it is that that organization on its own will be able to fulfill its obligation by paying his or her taxes, to the government. And you can grow it rather than giving people 75,000, even if it's going for 3 months. Somebody who has not seen that the next thing, if he's a man, might decide to marry another wife, that he will have to himself, because that's just free money. It shouldn't be free, because even in Freetown, there's no free lunch. Government must rethink. We know that there are social contracts where certain set of people are actually being mobilized to do this, but we feel that government should be intentional in creating an enabling environment for businesses to grow, to engage more people that can on their own work and earn money, not just receiving money from the government. This money can be used for the aged who have actually said, a lot of pensioners are crying today. And all that. They are crying today.
Our veterans, actually. You know, we just had the 15th of January Armed Forces Remembrance Day. And there are lots of veterans that can't even get their entitlement.
Their entitlement. Even some of them that they passed on. Their family are living in poverty. You can use some of these funds for those set of people, not you giving funds to the agile people that are still have the capability to work. A lot of people they are 67, they are still working. We are not saying that that's the ideal, but if they have the enabling environment, they can do small businesses. And with this advent of technology, I think it's it opens our eyes to several things. So it's not something to go with, but I think government just have to have a rethink. We can't continue to be giving people fish, but we must teach them how to fish so that we can have a sustained economy. This will just come and go. And the way Nigerian is, you might discover that 75,000 that is meant for 70 million, maybe 30,000 will get to the right hand.
To party officials and all that.
A lot of people would have actually taken their own
loyalists
and out of it to say, we actually went to go and work for this money. You better take this. These are the processing fee, administrative fee that was actually taken out of it.
Yes, very true. We cannot overstate some of these issues. Yes, it's believed that the duty and responsibility of any good government is security and welfare for its people, but 75,000 naira to 70 million people, come on. This is not welfare. This is not welfare at all. Yes. Thank you so very much, Mr. Shonson, for being part of our show today. I truly do enjoy our discussion today.
Thank you very much for having me, and I wish all our listeners the best of the week.
Very well said. Thank you so very much, people, once more. We truly do appreciate you once more. Please do well to visit us. You can always find and reach us at enterprisetvnews.com. You may like, comment respectfully, that is, and follow us on all our social media platforms at Enterprise TV7. I am Henry Igwebika. I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.